Good day. Today we will talk about historical, cultural development of the furniture design, and we will have our lecture. So the following developments, decade by decade, this section chooses significant work as an example of good design and innovations, linking with related contemporary activities and historical events. Significant first step toward progressive design were taken in 1897 by the Vienna Secessionists architects Moser and Hofmann. They are influenced by the larger stages of the arts and craft movement in the UK, and particular by the work of Charles René. It was in 1890s, and the imagination of that secessionist group to establish an outlet for their work, and so encourage sharing a lot of ideas between the city most forward-thinking artists, craftspeople, and architects. Moser and Hofmann formed the Vienna Workshop in 1903. As you can see on the screen, there are timeline of the things that happened in this period. Following in the footsteps of William Morris and John Ruskin, proponents of the reform movement in the UK, the workshop thought to pitch itself against a world that was increasingly populated by poorly designed industrialized products. So the workshop was therefore a resolutely craft-focused enterprise and an example of integrated design for efficient mass manufacture. Also, Hofmann and Moser did furniture for the Tonat. And also, next slide, you can see, like in 1920s, Breuer to Barcelona, you can see all that steps and the things that happened at that period. So during the first 2 years of the workshop existence, no work was more important, and the chair. So it was the chair that designed by this Hofmann in 1905. So you can see on the screen. Despite the historical importance of Hofmann's chair and Rietveld structural experimentations as a sectionist from the past up until to 1920s, neither were designing specifically for mass production, although their work was, of course, rational in manufacturing terms. It is clear, therefore, that much of modernism was not the primary focus there in behaviors. The most well-known and probably most of the important piece of furniture to be designed at the Bauhaus during this period was a tubular steel coupe, a chair you saw on the screen. The Wesley chair also. It is perhaps the greatest work from the German and grandmaster of modernist design, Marcel Breuer. You can see on the screen from 1950s day to the Jacobsen to Nielsen, you saw all that steps happening in this period. And also, once the technical possibilities of tubular steel had been explored by the Breuer, it was only a matter of time before the real potential of material became apparent. The cantilever. Dutch architect Maat Stam is credited with producing the first chair of this kind, but once Breuer and his German-born contemporary Logic Mies van der Rohe heard that Stam had achieved and realized that it was significant. So the next, you can see the 1960s Rams and to Supper to Panton to the piece. So all that design pieces of furniture came from this brilliant time. So it was after the war, and it was happening, all that new materials and new things became. And you can see on the screen also the Panton chair of the Werner Panton in 1969. So the furniture schemes continued and until the 1940s, and it was one of the part of the UK's immediate post-war reconstruction. And after that, it was the Panton chair, the propylene version. You can see on the screen it was red, and also you can find different types and different colored examples also. And in 1960, there was none improve its function, and only some managed to parallel its elegance. The development of the injection molding was being pursued across the manufacturing spectrum. And even though the Healy chair was represented a milestone, the goal for many designers and manufacturers from in the mid 1950s was to produce one piece. It's kind of the monoblocks. You can see on the screen 1970s Colombo to stamp to the Scott. So all that things happened and it was established by the Sothas Association. And undoubtedly furniture design of the 1970s was not defined by the name or by the same material and manufacturing progress is in 1960s or indeed the preceding 6 decades. 1980s, it was the time of the Stark and Memphis. So you can see the associations that was established and then became the Memphis Grove Debate exhibition at the Milan Furniture Fair, and also Stark's Juicy Sally for Alessi. You can see on the screen the armchair that was designed in 1974 and the kitchen that was designed. After the mainstream introducing in the 1960s, it was the flat pack furniture had became the mid 1970s become commonplace way of buying the furniture. So for example, it was becoming an IKEA was building and its domestic popularity for this kind of furniture by expanding its operational outside. And after that, while the Memphis Grove was in unusable prominence in the history of furniture design in the 1980s, its direct influence is often overstated. So its significant and ideological break from modernism by its aesthetically singular designs and by the intellect of those involved by its effect on postmodernism was more akin to starting again than lasting and transiting manifesto. In 1980s, also you can heralded air diversification in design, and you can see on the screen there was a long frame lounger by Alberto Media, 1993. I think it was one of the main characters at that period. Flying carpet sofa, and also it was founded in 1997, one of the significant pieces of furniture at that period. 2000s, it was the time that emerging the themes from the 1990s to this period. It was paralleled with the interest of Stark and Arad and innovation inspired and led by a new or existing manufacturing process. So the other information you can find in the literature in this presentation was prepared by a book, all picture and credits and information from this period. Stuart Lawson, Furniture Design, published in 2013, and also you can find many of the information from the books that you can see on the screen. So thank you very much. Goodbye. See you soon.